The whole world knows his face. Since the beginning of the Ukraine conflict, one man in particular has been constantly in the news alongside Vladimir Putin, Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. However, even if you know his appearances at political speeches, only some people know what his life is like behind the scenes. In this video, we want to show you how Zelensky goes about his daily life as a president and private person, and present you with some interesting background. It's not only going to be exciting, but also impressive, so stay tuned here at Wisefool. Before we shed light on Zelensky's current, not-so-everyday life, let's first introduce you to the president of Ukraine and show you how Zelensky became the critical man he is today. The 44-year-old politician was born in 1978 under the name Vladimir Alexandrovich Zelensky in the city of Kryvyi Rih, which is now in southern Ukraine, but at that time still belonged to the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. Zelensky was confronted with the horrors of war at an early age, even though he did not have to experience one as a child because, as the son of a Jewish family, Zelensky grew up in a Jewish community. His grandfather fought against Germany in World War II, and numerous family members fell victim to the Third Reich's inhumane policies. However, despite the sad family history, Volodymyr Zelensky's parents, Alexander and Rima, gave their son a carefree childhood. Zelensky grew up partly in Ukraine and partly in Mongolia, where his family lived temporarily due to his father's transfer. As a child, he was especially diligent in school. His parents expected this, however, because as an engineer and professor of cybernetics who headed a university institute, their son's education was extremely important to them. And so it comes as little surprise that Zelensky graduated from high school in 1995 and successfully studied law at a renowned business university. Incidentally, the Ukrainian met and fell in love with his future wife, Olena, with whom he now has 2 children. After that, however, Volodymyr Zelensky's career was to take a curious turn. In fact, the then 19-year-old did not start working as a lawyer after his studies, but founded a cabaret group and toured for several years with comedic programs in various countries. The future president was also not above making completely crazy appearances, such as playing the piano in front of an audience with his pants down. Oh, write us in the comments whether you celebrate Zelensky J for such appearances or something like that for you politicians unelectable makes. We are curious. In addition, during this time, he also worked as an actor, producer, and screenwriter, and as a voice actor lent his voice to the mayor in the animated film Horton Hears a Who. Zelensky would then have his nationwide breakthrough in 2006 as a contestant on the Ukrainian version of the popular TV show Dancing with the Stars, which he ultimately won. After that, things got completely curious. Namely, after Zelensky played a history teacher in the TV series Servant of the People, 2015, who was elected president of Ukraine due to his honesty and put an end to corruption in the country. Zelensky also had himself put forward as a presidential candidate in reality. The whole thing was a huge media spectacle at the time, even outside Ukraine. And indeed, the actor won the election and is now officially the president of Ukraine since 2019, and he has since been trying to make a more accessible, more modern country. As you can imagine, Zelensky's workday has been completely turned upside down since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. He is in meetings almost around the clock, trying to get support, give political speeches, make strategic decisions, and strengthen his people mentally and physically. Nevertheless, a day in his life now starts early in the morning again with breakfast in his family's company, which consists of his wife, Olena, and the 2 18 and 9-year-old children, Alexandra and Kirilo. Since Zelensky was allowed to see them from the beginning of the year in summer for security reasons, he now enjoys breakfast together all the more. Due to time constraints and protein intake, according to some sources, he does not eat bread or cereal, but instead likes to have a hearty chicken shawarma sandwich for breakfast, which is ideal for him with his stressful schedule. After that, however, Zelensky doesn't start directly with meetings and politics. Instead, the 73-meter-tall Zelensky first goes to the gym area of his private house in Kyiv, which was narrowly missed by Russian missile fragments earlier this year, or alternatively to the gym in his bunker. Here, the president steels his muscles with various exercises and equipment and lifts weights on the weight bench. But pull-ups are also on the morning sports program. But there are also political reasons for this. Sport increases stress resistance and promotes mental clarity. His 2 dogs, Peter and Nora, were always at his side, with whom he often walked in the neighborhood before the outbreak of the war. But even though Zelensky's physical fitness is still very important to him, him. He now often has to skip his beloved morning exercise sessions because there are actually more important things to take care of around the clock. In fact, the president is so busy in the current situation that he says he never sleeps more than 4 hours a night and has to start work immediately after breakfast. How much this has already affected his body condition in the meantime becomes clear in a direct comparison of two pictures of him, one taken just before the outbreak of the war and one taken just 50 days later. What Zelensky's work looks like in the morning differs daily, and it always depends on the news and threat situation. What is certain, however, is that the president spends a large part of his day in his bunker in Kyiv, the exact location of which is top secret. The entire area around the presidential bunker is cordoned off with roadblocks, and armed troops with dogs patrol the area. You can only get near the bunker if you know the daily password. The bunker is sealed off even more, and all the windows are hung so that no light can get outside. Even some reporters had brought cookies and a bottle of red wine to the president as a small pep talk during an interview appointment was confiscated by guards for security reasons. Despite all the heavy security, Zelensky's bunker is surprisingly nicely furnished, with expensive carpets, high-end seating, ornate wall decorations, and fancy wooden doors with gold-colored handles. And so Zelensky's underground workplace looks more like a castle than a barren bunker. In reality, however, the bunker is primarily one thing: the president's control center, where he currently spends most of the day and night doing exactly two things, namely work and sleep. In the current situation, the president doesn't have enough time for his family or hobbies, with which he could spend the rest of his day. But of course, he is also expected to take care of his country exclusively and to put all personal needs on the back burner. Before the outbreak of the war, however, Zelensky's daily routine naturally looked different. After working during the day, the Ukrainian usually found time in the evening to eat with his family and share the day's news. Volodymyr Zelensky also enjoyed playing the guitar before bed, an instrument he has mastered since his days in a school band. Bicycling, outdoor sports, trips to the sea, or visits to soccer matches were also frequently on the agenda. Whether and when the president will ever be able to return to his regular daily routine, in which there is at least some time for family, leisure, and hobbies, is currently written in the stars. His wife Olena, who incidentally works as a screenwriter, described in an interview that she admires her husband's discipline and that every single day for him currently starts as follows. The alarm clock rings, and he gets up, brushes his teeth, gets dressed, and leaves. Zelensky then works to the point of absolute exhaustion. The Ukrainian First Lady also stated that she worries about his physical health. So, if the situation in Ukraine relaxes, Zelensky's daily routine will probably have three priorities for now, namely family, sleep, and relaxation. May peace soon reign again in Ukraine.